I always tell my students when I start writing about literature to start with the obvious. Some of the things you pointed out, 2 stanzas, 1 sentence, a word is italicized. And it's amazing, again, I'll go back to having their attention focused, what will come from that. All of a sudden they'll start drawing some inferences, some conclusions. And as I always say, and as you mentioned too, don't be afraid about going in wrong directions. It's a draft. See where it goes. Sometimes it ends up in something wonderful, sometimes you discard it. You know, we've all done that.
Well, I think when we read something, we have an immediate impression. You know, let's say a subjective response, a gut reaction. I guess is a term that we commonly use. I don't know that that's where we necessarily want to wind up or remain. Writing slows you down. Writing encourages you to read more deliberatively, to read more slowly, to be more patient. Writing encourages you to think. You can't write without thinking. And what I think teachers really want from students is to see their mind at work on the text, on a poem, on a story, on a play, and to give evidence that the student is really engaged intellectually, emotionally, in the various ways we've been discussing with that work. And in my own experience, when I slow down and I make a lot of observations without trying to come to a conclusion, without trying to get to the point or the meaning of the work immediately, but to really look, to observe, to make connections among those observations, start thinking about possibilities, giving myself the freedom to be wrong, to make a number of different inferences before I come to some kind of conclusion that I want to record and share with other people and say, you know, I read this work, here's how I see it. And then to go back into the text and to provide the evidence for why I see it that way.
My own students have told me, at least some of them, probably only the ones that come back to tell me these things, that certain things that they learned about writing in a class about literature have served them very well in many of their other writing situations, whether in other academic classes or in the writing that they do in their professions.